Yeah, now on YouTube, so it tells me, are we? All right, sweet. Looks like we're here. All right. So let's get this over here. Make sure I got nothing coming out of my nose. All right, sweet. So welcome aboard, my friends. Hold on just a second. Let's get this organized to some degree. Blink, there we go. There we go. All right. All right, sweet. All right, cool. All right, so we are live and in person. Hey, Rick, what's going on, man? All right, sweet. Seems like it. All right. Patty J. All right. All right. Where are you coming in from, Patty? And where are you coming in from, Rick? I always forget. Ooh, I got my tea. Endo John, I think Don, North Carolina. We got to get some sound offs where you all are coming in from. To be honest, I think, I know Vinyl's Connecticut. I know that. And while we're waiting, I'll share with you my Tune Side Malus. Tune Side Malus. What does that mean? It means do not give in to evil. Ludwig von Mises. I talked about him the other day. Ludwig von Mises. And I know I got his book back here. Cannot believe I can't find. How can I not have Human Action, Ohio, right on Texas? Why you say for now, Patty? Sorry, Vinyl, I don't watch any golf. I don't know the first thing what you talk about. Marilyn, hey, Haas. Hey, Theo, thanks for your heads up on my book, by the way. Much obliged there. Lots of good help on that. Been working on that all day. You, my man, Bob, really did wonders for me in terms of kind of helping me out in that regard. So much obliged. And of course, that means I've been spending a lot of time getting those spreadsheets, to show the percentages. That looks 10 times better with the percentages, but it's kind of like hunt and peck to get it, but it looks good. Pulverizer, right on. But much obliged. All right, so this live stream, Michigan, right on, Indiana, is going to be brought to you by if I can find to share, which one do we want to share? This guy or that guy? Let's see, I think I want to share this guy. Yeah, we're going to share this guy. We're going to stop. Oops, geez Louise. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold on just a second. All right, we're going to, if I can get back to where I was, we are going to share my screen. And this is brought to you. We got, man, competing against Viva Frey again. Jeez Louise. Right here, this band, Soar Mountain. Oh my goodness. You got a lady singing and she just is freaking, oh my goodness. That freaking is just a hard band, just heavyish with a woman singer who just hits, oh man, I could listen to that all day long. It's fantastic. I think they're from Albania. So Albanian, for some reason, they are kicking out the jams in Europe, that's for sure. Then this guy right here, KMAC 2021. Look at that. It looks like it's a short, heavy-set Scottish guy, and he was playing Dream Theater like it was nothing. I couldn't believe it. I'm watching this guy, I was like, holy crap. He did when ABBA meets death metal. Oh, when Beatles meet death metal, I was like, is this guy gonna be any fun? And man, my goodness, that guy's good. And look at my man Mike Leach right there, beating LSU. Take that, my new team, Mississippi State. Then we got Cartman. So you can see what kind of videos I've been watching lately. Viva Frey, music, this guy, Tim, been watching a lot on Mississippi State. More metal, I haven't listened to that. My man, the Gardening Channel with Jim, somewhat out of New Jersey. So that's what I've been watching. We got Dave Ramsey. We got who else? Wrangler Star, Viva Frey, Jericho Green. Of course, I got my Jericho Green outfit the other day. I'm going to interview this lady right here, Sherry Peel Jackson, next week. We're hoping to interview her. Sherry Peel Jackson, very interested in talking to her. I like her quite a bit, actually. And then of course, I follow, what's her name? Bridget Fedesi. She's pretty good. I get some stuff on reparations. I'm interested in that, but you can see a bunch of what I listen to here. So anyway, and then we watch Jimi Hendrix answers questions, who's the best guitarist. So I got a lot of different stuff on my YouTube channel, just FYI. All right, so I want to go, where do I want to start? I want to see, oh, hold on a second. I wanted to see, nope. Oh, that's what I want. All right, I want to start with COVID tracker. All right, hold on a second. We're going to delete, get rid of this. All right. COVID tracker. And then I got a ton of questions I want to answer. All right. 29 large universities, Notre Dame, North Carolina, Illinois State, have reported some 26,000 cases by September 9th, and yet no hospitalization. Shocking. Daily reported new COVID cases, tests versus daily reported deaths. So we see deaths right here are the 7-day moving average, and you can see they're just spiking down, or they're just going down, down, down. Daily reported new tests are this light blue thing here. So tests are going down. Number of positives are going down as well. Everything's just going down. It's nuts to me that we're not reopened. I don't understand. I mean, I do understand. It's the government. They're not going to do anything until the election. I get that. This is just insanity. But Trump's got the virus. Yeah, so do freaking millions and millions and millions of other people. It's nuts. It's just nuts. COVID deaths by age and share of U.S. population. So the population of the U.S. is only 2% of the population is over 85, and they represent almost a third of the deaths. The population 75 to 84 is only 4.7% of the U.S., and they represent 26% of the deaths. So we have 6.7% of the population represents 56%, 57% of the total deaths. Crazy. And what's happening here is this will drop off because as those people, they just died off. I mean, that sounds sick. I don't care. It's just a fact. If you're 85 and over, you're on the short end of the stick when it comes to your life expectancy. It's just a fact. If the COVID is what, basically you got the COVID, it sucks, man. I wish they did not. That's a fact. But to shut down all these people, it's insane. And I'll still go to my grave saying it's insane. And the whole thing about masks are insane. I was at the grocery today and people are throwing masks on every which way to Sunday. There's no rhyme or reason for this, but heaven forbid you don't put your note, you don't have your whole thing covered up like this. Screw all that, man. Some lady asked me today, like, why are you so against masks? Because there's no freaking validation that the masks work. They're just not. And then one guy, Mike DeWine, Trump should have taken masks more seriously. And yet we got Tom Tillis who got the COVID, even though he was wearing masks. The whole thing is just freaking stupid. Everybody knows it's stupid. It's just virtue signaling on the 100th degree. Oh, Trump didn't take masks seriously. Well, he was wearing masks for a long time, and he still got it. Because you know why? Because the masks don't work. You know why? Because if it's airborne, the masks don't work. It's like a mosquito trying to get repelled by a freaking chain link fence. Now, if it's a droplet, maybe it does work to some degree. But if it's an airborne, it doesn't. I don't know why this is so. But we mandate freaking seatbelts. We should mandate masks. Yeah, well, seatbelts work. We know that. I don't think they should mandate them, by the way. If you want to freaking risk yourself like that, more, I don't care. But the idea that seatbelts and masks is the same thing. It's not. Seatbelts work. Masks, maybe they do. There's no absolute evidence to say they do whatsoever. None. So stop it. In fact, the evidence is all in the other direction, except it doesn't fit the narrative. We know this. Fauci said it. CDC has said it. Other scientists have said it. Now they've had it because the educational establishment is like, they're getting all this money on the COVID funding. They say, oh, you got to say it does. It's nuts. Crazy. Total deaths and COVID by 19 deaths in the US by age group. You can see here total deaths from all causes. Oh, thanks, Bunker. There she is. Hey, Miss America. Woo! Thank you, girl. There's Chloe. And it's brought to you by Heritage Wealth Planning merch coffee cup. You got Heritage Wealth Planning on one side, if you don't want my 556 merch, and you got the Tree of Life on the other side. Heritage Wealth Planning merch available for you for purchase down in the show notes. All right, so anyway, total deaths, all causes. From February to September, 625,000 people in the good old US of A have died. The total COVID deaths, I can't tell what that says. What's that on the left? I'm not sure what the COVID deaths on the left. I don't know. So we got COVID deaths as a percentage of the total population. Okay, so there we go. So we have, I can't tell what that number is. Is that like 10? I can't tell how much. Oh, hold on. I can't tell how many of that percentage is related to COVID or not, but you can see the number of deaths in the US. Let's just put it this way. A boatload of people have died that have nothing to do with COVID. Influenza deaths of children age 0 to 17 from 2010 to 2019, 1,200 and you can see all these. COVID-19, we've had for children aged 0 to 17, we've had, I don't know, about 100 people have died from COVID, but influenza right here, we've had over that in 2013 and 14, 2016, 17, you can see all that, but no one says a freaking thing. Daily reported COVID tests for a share of new positive COVID tests. Daily reported tests right here. 7-day moving average just is flat to none, and daily report. Okay. Anyway, the whole point is it's just a big fat nothing burger, and people are desperate to want to be scared. I don't get it. All right, so let's go into this right here, political calculations, which I'm a big fan of. Dividends by the number. All right, so for October 2nd, 2020, September 2020 continued the positive trend established in 2 preceding months of July and August for dividend-paying firms in the U.S. stock market. Here is the dividend metadata for September 2020. A total of 3,600 firms declared dividends in September. I mean, which is an increase of 370 over the 3,200 declared in August, but a decrease of the number of dividend declarations from 2019 in September. So we've had a decrease of 422. That's at about 15% or so, but we still have 3,600 making dividend payments after this coronavirus thing. It's crazy. 18 firms announced they'd pay a special dividend in September 2020, which is a decrease of 1 recorded in August 2020 and 6 lower than what it was in September 2019. All right, so we have, I mean, that's what 25% decrease in firms that pay a special dividend. Still, after the coronavirus, was pretty significant. 61 firms announced they'd boost cash dividend payments to shareholders this September, which is a decrease of 20 from the 81 in August 2020, but that doesn't matter. Is that we want to see what it was in 2019. And it's a decrease from the 67 that declared back in 2019. So 61 firms boosted cash dividends in 2020, and only 67 did in 2019. So that's good stuff. As a general rule, September represents the month most likely to record the lowest number of dividend rises of any month. So there you go. A total of 12 publicly traded companies cut their dividends in September. So 61 increased their dividends, 12 decreased it, which is a decline of 11 and also a decrease of 17 from the 20. Wait, let me get that. Whoa, 12 cut their dividends in September, but 29 cut their dividends last year. That's nuts. I don't know what to make of that. 18 firms omitted paying their dividends in September 20. There's also a decrease of 10 omitted paying their dividend payments in September 2019. All right, interesting. So we can go back to 2004, number of public firms increasing or decreasing. All right, so we have right there the number of firms decreasing in red. So a big jump right there when from the beginning of the year to the basically in March and April, where people are like, oh my goodness, we're all gonna die. And then it goes down. Number of firms increasing, big jump, big jump. You can see just, I mean, the number of firms increasing dividends just smokes the number of firms decreasing. Here's a Great Recession. And look at that. Even during the Great Recession, We still had some firms increasing, but right there, that one month, I bet that's probably March. Yeah, but that's March 2009, where you had more firms decreasing than increasing. Then if we go over here, same kind of thing. Right, oops, same kind of thing right there. I bet that's March of 2019 or 2020. More firms increasing than decreasing. That's you might not like that chart. I love it. I love that. I can read this stuff all day long for some ungodly reason. All right. In 2020 Q3, publicly traded firms issued 10,049 declarations about their dividend policies. All right. 62 announced it pays. We were talking about that. Okay, gotcha. So we already announced it. We were talking about repeating the same. Oh, S&P. Okay, 35 firms announced they resume paying dividends after having previously suspended them. A total of 1,212 companies announced they would increase their dividends during Q3 2020, up from the 20 that did in the preceding quarter. Anyway, oh man, look at that. I love it. I can read this stuff all day long. So median household income in August 2020, right there. That's the median household income in the US, 65,600 into. That's pretty doggone good. That's the median US household. So the idea that needed hundreds of thousands to retire on, it's just a silly, man. All right. And let's just keep it. So anyway, I love this. I love the political calculations. I'm going to show you one thing real quick. Let's see if there's anything else I want to talk about. I don't care about that. U.S. new home market cap is the highest since August 2006. All right, so I do want to show you this right here. That if you go to political calculations and you click on S&P at your fingertips, hold on just a second. S&P at your fingertips, right here. S&P at your. So it's funny because I'm writing my book on the Wellington Fund, and what we're going to do is we're going to go back so this we can see what the S&P 500 did, dividends and reinvested or not. And I just want to show you real quick. So we're going to reinvest dividends. So the S&P, the Wellington started in July of 1929. All right, so we go to July of 1929, and we're going to invest in the S&P 500 or invest in the Wellington Fund. And when we invest in the S&P 500, we get a 9.37% total rate of return with dividends reinvested, 9.37. However, when I had first written this, and I think it was May, it was 9.12. So the market has gone up 20 basis points. And I mean, literally in the last 3 months, it's gone up 20 basis points for historical average. Isn't that crazy? I mean, literally, this was 25 basis points, 0.25%. Crazy. So it was at 9.12 when I had first written my book. And the Wellington was 8.22 back then. Now it's at 8.37. So anyway, this last 3 months have been good for a historical perspective as well. It's crazy. And if we look at, let's see, I want to show you guys. So we have the index price in July of 1929 was 28. The index price right now is 33.65. The dividends were 92 cents per share of the S&P 500. Now it's 58 bucks per share. The earnings were $1.52. Now you just take your trusty old calculator to see how the earnings and dividends have kept up, and you'll see what's going to happen is the 9.37, 40% of that is going to be the increase in dividends from 0.92 to $58 per share. And then the about 5.5, probably 3.5 to 4%. 40% will be reflective of that 9.37. 40% will be because of dividend increases. 60% will be because of earnings increases. And that's why I say to get the future stock market, you just simply say dividend yield plus earnings growth year over year. That's it. Dividend yield plus earnings growth year over year, and that will give you your projected earnings for the S&P 500. That's not earnings like price earnings, but that will give you a projected return on the S&P 500. There's just no other way around that. Dividend yield plus earnings growth year over year, and we see the PE ratio 18.74 back then. So we have a doubling of the PE ratio, which seems pretty high. That seems high to me. Okay. We have a doubling of the PE ratio in that time. So that's That's I don't think that's true. I think that's high, but I'll have to look at that. I guess it depends on what date they look at it. Either way, and then the CPI is 17, now it's 26. So the point about this is just so much information you can derive from this. Say, hey, if I was going to have to keep up with inflation, I'd have to get a certain rate of return to equal 17 as my present value and 260 as my future value. What would the rate of return need to would be equal inflation? And I know I need to get that plus taxes. Crazy. All right. Inflation is 3.02. There you go. So I guess they figured out for us. So inflation is 3.02. All right. So index rate of return without dividends is only 2.29. Nuts. Index rate of return with dividends fully invested is 6.16. Oh, yeah. I mean, my goodness. That gives us what, the 9.37 right there, right? Yeah, pretty close. Something like that. Anyway, that's crazy. Look at that. Anyway, so much stuff on there. I could look at political calculations all day long because there's just so much stuff. Anyway, so let's pause there. We'll see what other kind of stuff we have. They get out of Right Capital. All right, we're gonna log in again there. Hold on just a second. Not sharing my screen. So I do want to go back over to some Right Capital. Let me just close out that. Close out that. Some other articles I want to share with you here. Okay, haven't read this article yet. I need to do that. I gotta read that one. Oh man, where's the? I got an article on here I wanted to read about the Social Security stuff. Oh wait, I got it. Hold on a second. I'll bring it up. Hold on. Oh yeah, I definitely want to read this article. I definitely want to read this article with you guys. All right, hold on just a second. Oh no, did I delete him? All right, sweet. All right. Blink. There we go. All right, so let's bring it back. Let's share again. And right here. All right. Hide this. All right, cool. All right, so this is Market Watch Dateline just the other day, October 3rd, by a guy named Alan Cohen. I'm not familiar with him, but if you read about old Al, shall we? Who's old Al? I know you're asking, who is old Al? He's just a guy writing for Market Watch. He's got to be legit, right? He's senior fellow advisor for the Center for American Progress, working primarily on Social Security and federal budget issues. He was nominated by Obama and confirmed by the Senate to be part of the Social Security Advisory Board. Okay, well, why was he? I mean, what was his background? I don't know. Anyway, so he's saying if you're turning 60 this year, this COVID pandemic could cost you $1,428 every year during your retirement. And I was like, dude, you're just writing about this now? In fact, you can see I commented down here. If it'll show me the comments, let's see if anyone did not post my comment. What the heck, man? I posted, let's see, sort by newest. There we go. Yeah, you're just writing about this now? Man, Andrew Biggs is over at AEI had written about this back in April. Once again, the right and AEI beats the left and Center for American Progress. Anyway, his whole point was we've already talked about this. And I emailed Andrew Biggs and I said, hey, man, the lefties are stealing your idea. And Andrew emailed me back, said, yeah, it'd be nice to get credit, wouldn't it? Because I said, dude, we've known about this stuff. We've known about it. I mean, my God, you're just coming. Where have you been there, Al? Big Al from the Money Wealth guys, whatever. Now, one thing he did say was kind of interesting was he did say he talked with John Larson, Bill, all right, whatever. John Larson probably primary, I bet, by another AOC type. If you're an older white Democrat man, you're going to get primary guaranteed, and you'll probably lose. That's all there is to it. So I guess he wasn't yet, but I'm sure his time's coming. Anyway, so I want to share with you something right here. Okay, so under the latest projections, the chief actuary of the SSA say wages are projected to drop 5.9%, which is quite a bit lower than what the initial projections were that Andrew Biggs was using. So 5.9 quite a bit lower, but still, it's going to affect the average wage index if indeed this happens. So who knows? I mean, under the latest projections, the chief actuary says the average wages are likely to fall by about 5.9%, based on what we know so far. Now, I wanted to look at this because this article was dated in October, was it not? Yes, it was. And what that projection was based on was dated when? Was dated in July. All right, so this is testimony in July, basically using the 2Q numbers. All right, 2Q numbers, which are actually not nearly as bad as initially reported. They were bad, but not as bad. And we've had a pretty significant rally since then. So this is just scare stuff, man. In fact, if we look at, so he says right here, for example, the webinar, the Bipartisan Policy Center. Oh, for the love of the good Lord, I cannot. The Bipartisan Policy Center, just swamp dwellers, swamp creatures, all of them. All right. So anyway, in the webinar, I described two simple potential scenarios. First, if total expenditures or total earnings in 2020 were reduced to 15% below the trustees' intermediate projection, with full recovery to expected earnings in 2021 and thereafter, payroll tax revenue would drop by 150 billion in 2020. In addition, the disability insurance trust funds would likely move from early around 2035 to the middle of 2034. Second, if earnings were reduced by 15% for both 2020 and 2021, with full recovery for 2022, we'd move earlier to 2040 in terms of depletion of the trust fund assets. At their time, it appears the scenarios described may be too pessimistic for 2020. Exactly. Payroll tax liabilities on track to be reduced less than 15% below the trustees' intermediate projection for 2020. For now, it appears that scenario with a 10% lower than expected earnings and payroll tax for 2020 is more likely. Assume do we not have a substantial second wave of cases, which we don't, with substantial closure of the economy, which they're trying to do. You got to tell Mike DeWine and his cohorts of merry freaking tyrants to get the hell out of Dodge, like freaking the Supreme Court in Michigan just slapped half Whitmer down, and she's looking for alternative ability to assume authority. These people are tyrants, man. Stop voting for these fools. You got to stop voting for the Democrats. They're all like that. Show me a Democrat that's not been like that. Again, the only one I can see is Polis out of freaking Colorado, and I think he's got some other issues. I mean, I'd like to see. Is there any Democratic state where they're like, yeah, it's all good? I don't know. I mean, if I'm ignorant about it, I'd like to know. I don't think there is. All right, assuming we don't have a substantial second wave, recovery during 2021 might be expected. Notice what he's saying there, recovery during 2021. We're already in a freaking recovery there, big guy. The degree of longer-term persistent effects on the economic activity and mortality is yet unknowable. All right, so let's just see what he says. The combined trust fund reserve 2020. Okay, let's see if we can't find. Most recent prior recession started in December 27 with a gradual rise reaching 5.8 and then 9.6% in 2010. All right, let me just find where he says 5.9%. Where is it? Right there. Okay. Experience so far for 2020 suggests that total wages for the year as a whole will be on the order of 10% below the level projected in 2020. That the number of workers with any earnings received in 2020 will be about 1% lower than the 2020 report, trustees report, the intermediate numbers. If this preliminary estimates are realized, then the average wage used to determine the AWI would grow by about 9.1% less than projected. Because the intermediate assumptions in the trustees report produced a 3.5% increase in the AWI, average wage index, this means the AWI would actually be about 5.9% below the level of 2019. It is important to note that these changes are consistent with the illustrative scenario described in this paragraph, and that the actual experience might be very different. Experience so far in 2020, and what has happened since this was reported on in July of July 17th, and again, it's based on 2Q at the end of 2Q. Well, we were at the freaking bottom, man. Under current law, decline in AWI result in two specific areas in the future. And my man Andrew Biggs already talked about that. So second, all workers with earnings in 2020 who first become eligible for the benefits of those born in 1960 will experience a 10% increase in index value of the 2020 earnings. Okay. We've already talked about that, so I don't want to get to that. But who is the author of this? Stephen Goss. I'm not all chief actuary of Social Security Administration. Anyway, going back to this guy's stuff, average wages expected to drop. No, they weren't. They were not. Literally, they were not expected to drop. That's a freaking bald-faced lie. It doesn't surprise me from the lefties. You can't trust these guys, man. They did not say it was expected to drop. What did he say? Let's read it. All right. Let's go back. Oh, hold on a second. Hi, Pablo. Right here. Experience so far for 2020. Dateline, July 17, 2020. Freaking just anyway, so he's saying based on what we know thus far, the guy who wrote this article acts like it's based on what we know thus far in October. It's just freaking fool. Using this estimate, average earner in the economy who turns 60 would suffer a reduction of $14.28 a year in inflation adjusted benefits. Why is this guy saying all this? Why? I don't know if look, man, I'm going to go Ben Rhodes. A lot of the people who write for the media are just not that bright. They're young and they haven't had that much experience. That's Ben Rhodes, Obama. They're 27-year-old know nothings. I don't know if that's this guy, Alan Cohen, Big Al. I don't know. But he's trying to scare you. And there's a reason for this. Why does he keep talking about John Larson? Let's see if we got right here. Why does he keep bringing up John Larson? Remember, Devin interviewed him. Devin Carroll interviewed Larson. And there is some good stuff in there, but a lot of bad stuff. I would not vote for it if I was in Congress. I would not vote for it because a lot more bad stuff than good. Congress should pass Larson's legislation as soon as possible. Why would a big lefty from the Center for American Progress be scaring you and then saying we have the answer in a left-wing legislation? Why? Because he knows that's how the votes are derived, by scaring you that you're going to lose your Social Security. They're lying to you through their teeth, man. They're lying to you, and they don't care because the media never calls them out for that. I wish the Republicans learn how to play this game. Just freaking make stuff up. Say, hey, no, we're making stuff up because this is freaking fake news. Fake freaking news. And it's crazy. It just infuriates me because I've got this article a couple times from people and I can tell they're freaking scared. Like, I wish I didn't retire in I wish I wasn't born in 1960 because look at this. But they don't see the big picture. And it's up to me to see the big picture. I get it. Anyway, so what he's, and here's Alicia, he's going to link to Alicia Munell. If you remember Alicia Munell, let me just pause. Let me get off the screen share thing for a sec. These are all swamp creatures. Alicia Munell is too. I actually had respect for her, and I'm not disrespecting her, but I know where she's coming from. They're coming from the swamp, man. That's what they do. They protect the swamp at all costs. And the swamp says, look, we've got to pass big government legislation because big government legislation is how we freaking make our money. And it's always one way. The government is the solution. It's never that the government put us where we are. The government is the solution. What put us where we are? Was it independent capitalist laissez-faire types? No, not by any stretch of the imagination, man. Not by any stretch of the imagination. It was big government. Run by both Republicans and Democrats. I get that. And look, I still thought it was stupid back then to say flatten the curve. I said, look, you got to let this work itself course. I mean, as having fought the vaccine battles for many years and knowing that this herd immunity is always what the pro-vaxxers want. And I was like, why am I the one arguing for herd immunity? And you guys are the ones saying, no, flatten the curve. And now, of course, that went away. Now it's just like, everyone stay safe. Basically, don't ever talk to your neighbor. It's nuts. Because they know it's a way to control people. Anyway, the whole thing's nuts. And so then my friend Meg up in Massachusetts sent me another article, if I can find that, about, I think I'll be able to find it. Anyway, I don't think I'll be able to find it. She sent it to me about, so there's another bad thing on Social Security. Oh, Social Security is going to, a 24% decline in Social Security. And it's the same thing by Market Watch. All the same crap. There could be a 24% decline in Social Security. And at least this guy, Sean Williams, I'm sure I don't know. But at least he was saying, look, the Republicans have their proposal, the Democrats have their proposal. I'm not sure why we can't meet halfway. And I told Meg, I said, look, man, they're gonna. It's going to wait to the last minute, just like what happened to Reagan. Then all the libs want to say, oh, Reagan raised tax on Social Security. He literally did not. He just made you pay tax on the amount that was contributed by your employer for which you never paid tax on. It was Clinton who made you pay tax on your own contributions. That's just a fact. But you can make an argument. I actually think it's the right argument to make, that he's making you pay taxes on the growth of those contributions, not the actual contributions. I mean, in some way you could argue you're paying tax on contributions, but at the end of the day, you put in, I don't know, I don't have my Social Security thing. You might have put in $50,000 worth of Social Security. It's going to pay you $800,000 over the course of your life. All right. You did not put the other $50,000 that your employer did. So you pay no tax on that. All right. So you're paying some income tax to receive that benefit. That's no different than an employer match on your 401k. On top of that, the growth you paid no tax on to get that $800,000. And like, you can argue with it might be inflationary, and I don't care. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's a bad argument to say you should not pay tax on some of it. You should pay tax on some of it. I have no qualm with that. The issue I don't like is they don't adjust it for inflation. That pisses me off. But anyway, so yeah, I saw Trump get out of the car. He's waving to people. He's saying he's doing speeches and stuff. I saw a poll today. I put it on my community tab. Let's see if I can't find it. This just, for those of you you've got to learn, man. You can't follow the polls. You just can't trust the media. That's all there is to it. You can't trust the media, and you cannot trust because they do is they peddle fear. There's no other way around it. So let me just show you this on my community tab. If you know what I'm talking about, if you go to Heritage Wealth Planning, maybe I'll bring that up real quick. Yeah, actually, I will bring that up. Let me share my screen. Oh no, did I delete it? No. Wait, where'd it go, man? Right. Okay. Oh, that's weird. All right, so we're gonna go to YouTube. Hold on a second. All right, so let's go to YouTube here. What is going on? All right, YouTube. I don't know what all that crap is. All right, so we'll hit pause there. Oh, look at me. Ah! All right, so we're going to go to Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. All right, here we go. And we're going to go to this community. So this is my running blog, by the way. I kind of keep on YouTube here. So here's the Biden's national lead over Trump jumps to 14 points. That was the exact same thing they had in NBC Wall Street Journal poll almost the same time last year with Hillary with a 12-point lead. I mean, anyway, if you think that is true, I got a freaking seaside property in Arizona. This is freaking nuts. And if you actually read it, first of all, they talk about registered voters, but they don't even break down the number of Democrats versus independents versus Republicans. I mean, you just can't. It's nuts. But anyway, so we'll stop that for just a second. So anyway, if you go to my community, just going back, this is my kind of running blog here. I talk about this band, Soar Mountain, who I introduced you at the beginning of this show. Freaking, you got a chick singing, and she is freaking awesome, and the sound is just awesome. Then I quoted my man over at, actually, where was that quote from? Even with the coronavirus, Trump is still far more coherent than Biden. But anyway, so lots of good. Oh, then I quoted this article from my man Sundance over the conservative treehouse. There are trillions of dollars at stake. So if you're interested, I do a lot of stuff on that. It's kind of like my running blog, just FYI. Let's see here. All right, so I got. All right, Patty said she's going to move from Ohio to possibly Florida. Right on, Patty. All right, gotcha. All right, so let's pause for just a second. Wellington book looking good. Hey, thanks. Yeah, I tell you. Well, what happened to it, man? Where's all my stuff? All right, hold on. Let me clear out some of these screens I got. Hold on. I got way too many windows. All right, let's get out of that. Boink. All right, let's get there. If I can find. There we go. Yeah. Oh, man. All right, so let me show you what I'm doing. All right, so let's share screen. There we go. And you can see all my windows up here. Oh, yeah. So we talked about COVID. Let's close that. That's COVID from last week. What's this reason? Oh, All right, so I do want to talk about this real quick. Is there a Democratic plot to redo the suburbs? Is there a Democratic plot to abolish the suburbs? Don't believe it. I actually think this is right on. Look, the Reason magazine has actually gone kind of off the deep end and they're anti-Trump, which bothers me because, good boy, because Reason's supposed to be libertarian, and the whole thing with coronavirus, they had a lot of people, selling out the libertarian street cred because of the worries of coronavirus. But and so this guy's a big anti-Trumpster. But at the end of the day, it's on Reason, so I can trust it more than I trust anything else. So anyway, removing single-family zoning will not dismantle the suburbs, but it'll dismantle the ability of NIMBYs to use a government control other people's property. NIMBY is not in my backyard. And that's the typical NIMBYs are the rich people in Martha's Vineyard and what's the other island up there, the Kennedy, freaking compound and stuff that always say green energy, but don't you dare put a windmill in my freaking view of Casco Bay, Cape Cod. No, do that with some other poor people in Maine, but don't put it in here where all those rich people with Obama are. We don't want to look at a windmill, a wind turbine. Hell no, don't put it out there in the ocean. Even though if you want to, the best place to put that is in the ocean. It isn't on a freaking mountain. Oh my goodness, a beautiful mountain range in the freaking New Hampshire, Maine. The wind industry is corrupt as all can be. That's all there is to it. Solar, look, I don't like the industry per se, but solar is valuable for sure. The wind is not. I like hydro, and I'm a big fan of hydro, but hydro is inherently limited. It's just limited how much, what's called head, how much you can get the water above you to put it down to turn the turbine. Wind is just bad. Solar is okay. Biomass is okay. At the end of the day, if you want to have a CO2 free energy and electricity, you're gonna have to go nuclear. There's no other way around it, my friends. It's literally, you cannot not do that. It's nuts. Those batteries. Yeah, I've been hearing. We argued with my man Jason last 2 weeks ago about batteries. I just sitting there thinking, I don't understand this whole thing about batteries. I said, dude, we've been using the same friggin' batteries we've been using since the 1900s. Lead acid batteries. Lead acid batteries are still the biggest battery out there by far. Nothing comes close. And you still, even with these more modern lithium and stuff like this, you still don't have the storage capacity you need to run an economy. You just don't. Never mind flying a freaking airplane. Anyway, so as Republicans battle Democrats' electoral, the nation's politically pivotal suburbs, they've been sounding the alarms about a liberal plot to dismantle our single-family neighborhoods. For instance, the conservative Trumper National Review has declared Biden and Dems about to abolish the suburbs. That would be shocking if true. For the past 3 years, the state senator who represents Pelosi's district has led to a push to abolish single-family zoning in California, wrote Trump. Said Ben Carson, my man Ben Carson. I've long chronicled the disastrous development policies that California Democrats have pursued. These include excessive fees, regulations, slow growth rules, mandates that quash housing construction and hike prices. In their battle against climate change, they've even backed urban growth boundaries that set aside vast tracts of land in an attempt to force new construction to high-density urban footprints. So remember my man Jason was saying, the reason that we have the huge prices in California is because capitalism. No, it's not. It's because of this right here. Come on. Anyway, so be it as it may, California is expensive because it costs so freaking much to build a home. There's just no other way around it. And this is, so let's keep reading. Furthermore, the state's Democrats and many Republicans have backed the state's now defunct redevelopment agencies. Corrupt as all can be, those things. Those relics of the 50s urban renewal era gave local officials the power to play real-life Sim City in their communities, whereby they subsidize favored developers and abuse eminent domain in a perverse quest to grab tax revenue and remake their communities as they chose. Thankfully, they got rid of that, I think, like 10 years ago. California has among the highest home prices and poverty rates. So if capitalism was what made California have the high prices, and how can you have such poor people? You have more inequality in California than do in any other state. Why? All right, thanks to restrictions on housing. There's plenty of fodder for Republicans who want to take Democrats' misguided land use policies. It's ironic, though, that they have chosen to take a stand against a one development issue where many Democrats are on the mark. Let's start with semantics. Eliminating single-family zoning does not ban the construction of single-family homes. We should banish the idea supporters to the nether reaches of the ugliest imaginable tract suburb for their failure to properly label this modest change. Single family zoning allows only the construction of single family homes. Single family zoning allows only the construction of single family homes, mind you. Eliminating it, as Oregon has done, allows for the construction of other things in addition to single family housing. So, what they're saying is we're going to eliminate the single family zoning laws. No, it doesn't say you can't build single family housing. It says you got to build other stuff too. Trump and Carson, referring to Scott Wieners, who most recently authored the now defunct Senate Bill 1120, which would allow the construction of duplexes in suburban areas. The senator is wrong on most state policy issues, but he's right about this one. Here, he was championing fewer regulations, freer markets, more consumer choice, and less government management. The National Review argued that candidate Biden is embracing an end to single-family housing, the creation of little downtowns in the suburbs, and Obama-era housing rule that requires local governments that receive federal housing funds to identify fair housing barriers. He believes this package will mean the end of meaningful choice in how Americans can live. And my man said, I thought he was kidding. I like the suburbs, but the government enforces zoning specifically to limit any meaningful choice to control what people do on their own property. All zoning is exclusionary and is expected to be exclusionary. That's its purpose, says Bernard Segan, prominent free market academic. Right here, Economic Liberties in the Constitution. I got his book, Bernard Segan, who I think was a law professor, or is, I don't know if he's still dead, at the University of San Diego. All zoning is exclusionary and is expected to be exclusionary. That is its purpose. I guess he is dead. I like the suburbs, but government enforces zoning specifically to limit any meaningful choice and to control what people do on their property. Kind of like an HOA. I rarely agree with any federal housing edicts, but what's wrong with little downtowns, provided they aren't created with subsidies and eminent domain? Old Town Orange, downtown Fulton, Old Pasadena, they're doing that here in Alpharetta. They got this, I mean, they're doing it in Crab Apple. They're doing it all over the place, these little downtown things. I kind of like it, as long as it's not done with taxpayer money. I got no qualm with it at all, as long as it goes to the regular regulations in terms of saying, hey, we want to make sure this way it works. And it's all this thing. We're going to these little dense, micro cities all over the place. I got no qualm with that. You don't have any qualm with it either, because people frequent this stuff. You look at Avalon, it's got all these little freaking townhouses and apartments and surrounded by small units of beautiful houses, freaking expensive as all can be. Beautifully built, beautifully made. It looks fantastic. There's hardly any land. You're not gonna have a freaking half an acre garden. But if you want to be in an urban environment, you can walk places as freaking nice as can be. It's great. I don't want to be that, at least not now. Maybe when I'm older I will, but I like being out in the sticks. And I'm not far enough out in the sticks as it is, my friends. I need to get out further. The old ball and chain, though. The old ball and chain. Let me stop real quick. Let me tell you about the old ball and chain. She made the most kick-ass beef stew you've ever had in your life tonight. Oh my goodness, was that good? What happened? Where did I go? All right, hold on just a second. I got to bring me back. Oops, what happened here? Yeah. All right, she made the most kick-ass beef stew. She made it, she scooped it out for all of us, and she's putting it away because I'm doing this live stream. Why don't you buy a Heritage Wealth Planning coffee cup to show your support for the old ball and chain? Because my goodness. Anyway, so Chloe, can you bring me my tea? And Chloe's got some homework to do. And Charlotte's like, I can bring it to you. That's all sweet. Because I thought, yeah, she can come in here and I can show you guys Charlotte, because a lot of you think I'm not married. And she goes, oh, no, not doing it. I know what you're trying to do, Josh. You're trying to get me on camera. And I don't have any makeup on. I was like, dude, you don't need makeup. My goodness. All right, so let's keep going. Anyway, man, I tell you, why did she marry me? I have no clue. No idea. Nuts. Back then, not in a good place. Certainly not in a good place. She didn't marry me for money. That's for damn sure. She didn't marry me for my singing ability. She didn't marry me for my maturity. That's for sure. But anyway, thank you, Lord. I tell you. All right, so let's keep going. Oops, I want to go back. I want to share that article, blink. Yeah, there it is. We're gonna go back to, why do I keep doing this? Oh boy, hold on a second, stop sharing. All right, what happened? Oop. There we go. All right, cool. Why am I having such a hard time with this today? All right, there we go. All right, cool. All right. Yep, there we go. All right. My neighborhood allows the construction of second units, has done so for years. Instead of suburban getting, we simply have more neighbors who have a place for their elderly parents and adult children. That's how neighborhoods largely operated in the United States until people realized they could lobby the government to zone out people they don't like. I want to rebut a point raised by Southern California News Group colleague Susan Shelley, who is an opponent of the Wiener bill. When people ask her what to say to someone who complains they can't afford to live in, say, Pasadena, she offered this answer in a recent column. Someone who can't afford to live in Pasadena will have to live somewhere else or earn enough money to live in Pasadena or share the cost of living in Pasadena's with others. Interesting. I'm sure she's a big lefty too. Someone who can't afford will have to live someplace else or earn enough money to live in Pasadena or share the cost of living in Pasadena with others. Of course, people don't have a right to live anywhere unless they want to have enough money to do so. But one key reason that many people can't live is because Californians back restrictive zoning laws that limit housing supply and drive up prices. Removing single-family housing zoning will not dismantle the suburbs, but it can dismantle the ability of get off my lawn crowd to use the government to control other people's property. Anyway, he's got a lot of comments on here. People not happy with old Steve because he's a never Trumper. But I look, I don't like Biden. I think Biden's corrupt as the day is long for sure. At the end of the day, though, I don't know if I want the federal government dictating what localities have to do. But you got to admit, the federal government had to get in there to keep people redlining and stuff like that. That's just a fact. And I tell you, a lot of people, I think, miss the point. They say, well, the government, they'll never do that against me, my type. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people realize how evil the big government is. What I mean by that is, like, you can't sit there and say, oh yeah, they only do it to us, those people, we'll just say immigrants. They're not going to do it to me. I'm native, I make money, but man, the government could turn the minute the political winds change, they're going to turn, man. It's crazy. And that's why I kind of worry about conservatives who throw in with big and bigger, more government without recognizing that will be used against them at some point. It's weird to me that the conservatives don't get that. Look, I learned my lesson through Bush. I was all about the Patriot Act, all about the freaking TSA and stuff. And I just, hell, all about going to Iraq and Afghanistan. No, I mean, Afghanistan, you can make an argument because we did get attacked, but the other just that. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. All right, I want to go back here. Hold on just a second. I want to go here and see what's on your mind here, my friends. All right. So we got, I was going to say about Wellington book. Some guy says, Aaron Clary makes content like my mind. I probably enjoy it. I guess I don't watch storage locker cleanup videos. Oh. Ask the IRS lady if we were lawfully required to pay income tax. Well, we're not, but don't pay and see what happens. Yeah, exactly. The fact that COVID is still a thing in October is unreal. Remember, slow the curve. Man, I tell you, remember exponential too? I had people, Mary G, who I think was actually Bob. Remember old Bob, guys? I forgot his name, Bob. I forgot what it was Bob. We had a guy on here named Bob. Well, I think actually was Mary G's precedent. I think Bob became Mary G. Hold on. In order so he would be viewed more favorably as a woman as opposed to a cranky old man. But anyway, and Mary G is started getting weird. It's like, dude, it's like she started getting more. The more I ignored her, the more angry she got. It's strange. So I just nuked her the other day. But anyway, Bob on here, and we had another guy too who's like, exponential. You don't know what exponential growth is. And I said, I do. There's not exponential growth. It's just not. And we can see it happening in all these other countries. There's no exponential growth. No. it just, and then of course that stopped to go to flatten the curve, and now who knows what the hell it is, whatever they want to do, crazy. Holy crap. De Blasio just shut down schools in Queens and Brooklyn, closed schools, all non-essential businesses. Yeah, people are, I know my man Roberto is in I think he's in Bronx. You gotta get, how can you, these places are dying on the vine, these places. And I look, I for one don't care. I really don't. Seattle, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, why? I was listening to David French on what's her name, freaking Bridget Fettis's channel the other day, and he was griping like, yeah, Trump is, because David French is a huge anti-Trumpster, huge. And when I was talking at Mike Lettuce the other day, who reads David French is not an atheist. It's Kevin Williamson and the other guy, Charles Cook, Charles Cook is a huge Second Amendment, one of the best Second Amendment authors out there, but he's an atheist. And anyway, it's Kevin Williamson too. And I said, anyway, so I made that mistake saying Edis's that French was. He's not. He's just an anti-Trumper. But anyway, but French, he doesn't like Trump. And you know he's going to vote for Biden because Biden has a better politeness. I was like, really? Anyway, either way. So French was saying that, yeah, they're like, he's saying Trump's argument is vote for me so that way the rioters don't continue to riot. And I'm sitting there, no, we're voting for Trump to make sure that the riots, when they riot, they stay in their own freaking towns. They stay in Portland and Seattle, Minneapolis and Baltimore. That's why we're voting for Trump. It's not so they don't, so Trump's going to, I don't want Trump, the federal government, going in there freaking busting heads. Hell no. I mean, let them freaking do it. I don't want to bail these freaking clowns out though. But like Trump said, we're not bailing Minneapolis out. Nope, I loved it. Good on Trumpster. Because why should I bail them out for them allowing the virtue signal? He's nuts. Pay enough taxes as it is. And we're already broke on Social Security and Medicare anyway, so screw that, man. I mean, just, oh my goodness. But anyway, so the issue is David French like, yeah, Trump should just, he wants people to vote for him so we can stop the riots, and he's not stopping. This is happening under his watch. I said, no, he's not a tyrant. He's a federalist. Tim Kaine has had it, and I'm sure he's a big mass person as part of the religion of the left. Tim Kaine has had it. Well, not Tim Kaine. Mississippi took off their mask mandate. Yeah, that's another lady in Mississippi. Isn't she or is it Alabama? Is it Mississippi? There's a woman governor in one of the states, K something squish. I was like, man, just because they have an R after the name doesn't mean they're for freedom. They don't. I mean, they're just not. You have some people. We got DeSantis, my man Brian Kemp, obviously Chrissy Noem. I was going to say Abbott, but I don't know what happened to him, man. He got nervous about a month and a half ago, and he just went stupid. No governor of Texas should mandate masks. That's just done. Or whatever the hell he was doing. No governor of Texas. That should never happen. And then Ducey up in Arizona was pretty good, but then he got somewhat squishy too. Embarrassing. Ralph Northam is a mask. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Oh, so I gotcha. So Tim Kaine has got the virus and he's a big mask guy. Yeah, Ralph Northam. All right. Biden should have been tested. However, all right. So my man says the guys are saying that energy companies should be cutting their dividends. My man says Dominion Resources probably will as well. And I'm sure Exxon will. Hell. I've noticed that my index funds have returned less dividend than compared to last year. Yeah, I'm dividend cuts, but they're still getting a dividend. I already talked about how the Exxon's work for me. I got smoked. I'm freaking, I mean, what's it down to $35? I think 33. No, I got killed in Exxon. Freaking, that's what I said. Don't ever follow my stock advice. $32.98. Don't ever follow my stock advice. Now it's got a 10.5 yield. I bought it when I had 8.33 yield. I'm not getting a 10.5 yield. I'm not. I'm getting an 8.33 yield. And if they cut the dividend, I'm getting even worse. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jill says, I think it's weird during a pandemic, the overall deaths aren't running high for the year so far. I think it's because of deaths. Yeah, I don't trust any of these guys, Jill. I just don't. They have until 2020. Hey, Dan, I'm hoping for a great 23. All right, let's see. Oops. Oh, whoa, my man Enzo McGregor told me to F off. All right, that's good. We're gonna hide you. I made beef stew tonight too. Matia's this season for beef stew, man. Cute humor says Josh isn't real. Yeah. Yeah, they do the same in New Jersey. They give giant preferences to farmland. That way, John Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen can get huge tax write-offs. Crazy. Lithium mining stocks going through the roof last week. Massive deposits found in Utah. That's great. Or found in Nevada. I'm glad to hear it. Still not. You still need battery power to hold the electricity for a long time. And it's not going to happen. It's just not. I mean, just because they found some lithium finding, that's freaking awesome. It's not going to change the battery structure. It's just not, man. Yeah, my Rapid City, Roberto, right on. Oh, Auction Jay says he lives in Rapid City. All right. Some guy said it gets a negative 50 wind chill. I said, really? Because I hadn't heard that. Who would want to move? Oh, this guy does live in South Dakota. He lives in Ohio. He said, who would want to leave the glorious state of Ohio? Yeah, let's see. See, I'm still looking out the window. Nice to watch the birds. Yeah, nothing. I mean, literally, what else are you gonna do, Dan? I mean, look out the window. It's all. There's nothing else to do. You sit there and say, okay, this market. I've had a number of people email me, worried about the stuff, and I said, look, it doesn't. You can worry all day long. It's not gonna change anything. Literally, I mean, worrying doesn't. You can sit there and say social, all this stuff is literally not gonna change anything. And that's what I liked about Alcoholics Anonymous. You can control the things you can control. The Serenity Prayer. I don't think I have. Let me read it. I haven't read the Serenity Prayer in a long time. Let's read the Serenity Prayer, shall we? Let's see. Serenity Prayer. Serenity Prayer. Oops. All right, so let's read the Serenity Prayer, my friends. Maybe we should start every broadcast with this because it's fantastic. And I used to know this by heart, as anyone who goes to AA does. All right, you ready? Man, feels like I've just been smoking my cartons of Newports. Yeah. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right. And if I surrender to your will so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next, amen. Now, the part of what we said in AA was, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's what we say in AA, not the whole Serenity Prayer. But it's basically saying, look, man, you can worry about it all day long, but there's nothing to do about it. I mean, literally, you should vote, you should rabble rouse, you should advocate, but you can't. Your worrying isn't going to change anything. So I would even say, why are you worrying? And if it's about money, then what is it that you're worried about? Running out of money. And then you say, okay, what would be the cause of me running out of money? And it's not a market decline. It's not low interest rates. What the cause of you running out of money would be your expenditures, most likely. Because I can guarantee you don't run out of money. You just take 5% a year off your portfolio. I guarantee you won't run out of money. You say, okay, I have a $100,000 portfolio. That's $5,000. The next year it drops to 80,000. I take 100,000. I have 80,000. I take 5% off. That's $4,000. Next year it drops to 50,000. That's $2,500. Well, $2,500 isn't enough. Okay, why isn't it enough? And that is the one thing you can control is your spending. And this is what I sit there and say, look, the one thing you can control is your outflow. Even if you can't control your inflow because of other factors, the market, the interest rate, freaking George Soros, Biden, Trump, all this stuff, you can control your outflow. That's just a fact. And doesn't Dave Ramsey talk about eat beans and rice for a couple of years so you get out of debt? I'm not saying do that, because beans and rice, there's lots of carbohydrates in there, and then you'll die of a heart attack, if not obesity or something like that, or hypertension. But you can control your outflow. So if you're worried about running out of money, maybe you should refactor. Let me turn my fan on. I still can't believe I don't have human action down here. That I gotta get it's up in the attic. How can I have a human action up in the attic? That's just nuts. Oh, that makes me mad. All right, so all right. So what I'm saying is, all right. So you're worried about this, that, and the other. You're worried about spending. Oh, yeah, just real quick, don't forget Ludwig von Mises. Do not give in to evil ever. And that's the Mises.org. And if you go to Mises.org, oh man, did I throw it away? And you donate, you can get the Austrian magazine. And they just had Amity Schleas on there, who had written the book, The Forgotten Man, Calvin Coolidge, which I got back there. That might be upstairs too. Anyway, so, and you get the Austrian magazine. It comes like once every quarter. And they just had a guy, David Gordon, writing it down. He took down the modern monetary theory. It was okay. Actually, hold on. I'll be right back. Good boy. It was okay article. There we go. But this is the one I just picked up off Amazon. Problems with modern monetary theory, a comment on Stephanie Kelton's The Deficit Myth by Robert Wenzel. And I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to reading that because, I think some of the critics of MMT, I think there's a lot of assumptions that go in there. And the number one is that inflation is going to be out of control. And I don't know. I get it. And, Michael Edison and I talked about this on our live stream on Wednesday. His take is, look, inflation, we can't have Congress as the arbiter to say when it's time to nip inflation in the butt, because Congress will never do it. And that's 100% right. You can't have political beasts coming in there and stopping something that's inherently political. But I think the assumption that inflation has to happen. I don't know if I think there's got to be a better argument. I don't know what it is yet. I think there's got to be a better argument. So I'm very much looking forward to it, because that's what seems to be the enemies of MMT are arguing, that inflation will go through the roof. And the same people have been arguing that for years about the debt that we have in the United States. We've accumulated all this debt, and we've been in debt since what, 1930? I did a video on this, I think 1929. And they've been saying the same thing for we're going on 100 years now, that it's going to be hyperinflation. The debt is out of control. The deficits are out of control. We're never going to pay the debt. It's never going to happen. It's never going to be paid off. It's just never going to happen. And so, but yet we don't have inflation. Now, some people say, well, the real inflation is worse than what the CPI says. Okay, I'll grant you that. But it's not hyperinflation by any stretch. I don't know. There's got to be a better argument. Now, look, if we just start saying, all right, just give everyone $1 million, would there be inflation? Inherently, there'd be inflation. I mean, obviously. But that's not the argument. The argument is, spend the money to build the infrastructure and stuff. I don't know. I'm looking forward to reading this. Pablo, stop. I got a very active dog there. I'm looking forward to reading this because it's not a very big book. It's only 55 pages. Anyway, we'll see. All right. So anyway, if you just want to think about it too, if you are interested in Libertarianism from the legal perspective. This is a great book. Economic Liberties and the Constitution. What a wonderful book. Yeah, just while I'm on books, let me go to my other one here. Because I can't find Human Action, Principles of Economics by Carl Menger. This is introduction. Look at that. Introduction by F.A. Hayek. You know who F.A. Hayek is? This right here is, man, I look at all that. I got stuff. Look at that. I just, it's probably one of the best books I've ever read in my life. This right here, Principles of Economics by Carl Menger. I gotta read. I got so much freaking books to read. I can't. It's like my anti-library. I mean, I've read this, and I've read both these books when I was in college, but I haven't read them for a long time since. And my anti-library, I got, frick, man, I just sitting on this right here by my man Robert Bryce, Power Hungry. And I've read, 3 chapters. It's called the Anti-Library. Nassim Nicholas Taleb calls that. Every time you read a book, you add 4, and you don't ever read them. It's just, and it's like sitting there like, I got to read these books. All right, let's keep going here. That's what I say. So if you're sitting awake at night, you're saying, what if they do this to Social Security? What if the market does this? You can't control that. But you can control your freaking leasing that new car for $800 a month. Don't do that. You can control you're eating out every night. You can control freaking you're buying, I don't know, new fancy schmancy Nike shoes. Does Stefan Marbury still make the Starberry shoes or whatever they're called? I mean, buy those ones. I mean, you see what I'm saying? You can control things. These are the things you can control, but you can't control your income, but you can control your outflow. Absolutely. You can't control if you're taking on too much debt. You can't control if you have a big old fat mortgage that you should not have, like your old buddy Josh. It kills you. I got no other debt except this guy right here. You can control if you're giving away your kids all your freaking retirement money because you can't break this. You can't. I'll never forget I had these clients in upstate New York, nicest people in the world. They're going to run out of money. And I was sitting there thinking, man, and the reason was because they kept taking care of their son. Their son was freaking a grown man. But they bought his house. They took a second mortgage to invest in his business. That business went bankrupt. His other business, he was always just one freaking step away from making it work. And then the sad thing is the university called his alma mater wanting like $25,000. And I remember him calling me, he said, "Do you think I can do it?" I said, "No. Not while you're hooking up your kids." And he didn't listen. He still gave $25,000 because he just couldn't say no to people. And it started with his son. And I just, all right. When will they find a way to tax your Roth? It is coming, but when? Yeah, it's. I don't think they're ever going to tax your Roth, but I think like someone in here, it'll be part of your taxable income when it comes to Social Security and Medicare premiums. I think that's in your the way they figure out if your Social Security is taxed or not, Patty. I can almost assure you that's going to happen. I mean, literally, like I did in a video the other day, the mega Roth conversion or the most epic Roth conversions ever. I think it was a live stream too. When I showed that, I said, man, you got $1 million, it's all tax free. Social Security is tax free. You literally look like you go on welfare, and because you got no income. And it's only a matter of time they say, we can't have that. If you have a certain asset base, you're going to have to pay tax on, or you're going to have to pay higher premiums for Medicare or more tax on Social Security. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do Roth conversions. It just means, be advised. Yeah, Patty J couldn't agree more. Let's see. Okay, right on. I'm looking forward to Roberto. So I'll be, like I said, going up to Blue Ridge this week. Go to South Carolina. I will go to Greenville, South Carolina at some point. Certainly Rapid City in the next couple of weeks, and I'll be doing videos. It'll be fun. I can't wait. But I see my concern. See, this is why I'm worried about this. I'm worried about I'm going to be disappointed. My man, someone just posted that they said it was brown. They said it was nice, friendly people, but brown and open. I mean, they weren't masks up and all that. I said, that's my kind of people. But man, I like the green. I like trees. And I just have a sneaky suspicion might not get that. But we will see. I'm going to figure that one out myself. There's a guy, I'm not sure if he's on here anymore, from Wenatchee or Washington. And he had sent me a picture. And I was like, dude, that looks freaking fantastic. So Chloe and I went out there last October, as a matter of fact. And Wenatchee did not do it for me. Very brown, very no green, no trees. I was like, man, nope, not for me. And then we found Bellingham, and I freaking love Bellingham. Bellingham, I love it. Charlotte never lived there. It's too rainy and too overcast, and she can't stand it. Charlotte's got Iberian Peninsula skin, that olive color. I mean, it doesn't, not in the wintertime, but in the summer she gets like olive. Like she looks like she's Spanish. In fact, many Mexicans have gone up to her, started speaking Spanish to her, thinking that she's from Mexico. When she's tan, when she was younger, she was a lot darker back then. We were actually at a restaurant one time in Alexandria, a nice fancy schmancy place, and we're on a big date because I was trying to impress her. I think I wore a tie, and anyway, she was she was like waiting to go to the bathroom or something like that. And these lady came up to her, one of the bus ladies or whatever. They started speaking Spanish to her in a rude way, like basically saying, "You need to get back in the kitchen," or whatever. And that's happened to Charlotte like 5 times. It was happened once. And Charlotte's like, kind of funny. Green New Deal. The green nude eel. The green nude eel is what some guy says. All right, let's see. Beef stew. Oh man, the only problem with Charles beef stew, it didn't have enough liquid. I need the liquid so I can make some freaking bread, put tons of butter on there, dip in there. Oh man. You should get her an Instant Pot. Change my cooking in a lot of ways for the better. Instant Pot, man. Interesting. Never heard of it. Hey, it's Lydia Santiago. All right. I'm a fan of Lydia. Lydia's got a YouTube channel. Always trying to give people help on their YouTube channel. So big lefty, but she's all right. So if you like, you can watch Lydia Santiago's My Investment Journey YouTube channel. Yeah, great. Greg Abbott has me pissed. That's what I don't understand with these guys. Great riff. It's like, what? Why are you guys doing this? The Democrats never piss off their base the way the Republicans do. It's the weirdest thing. The Democrats always know that I don't get it. The Republicans say, well, my base has nowhere else to go. The Democrats never do that. It's the weirdest thing. And it's always true. The Republicans are always told you got to moderate so you can appeal to the independents. They never say that about the Democrats ever. It's like these independents are natural leftists. I don't know that to be true. And the Republicans then veer to the left. And what happens is we don't get the righties who are normally would vote for us because we've gone too far for the left because we think the independents are in the middle. Then Trump comes along and says there's a bunch of independents who have no affiliation at all with the Republican Party, but they're not lefties, they're not moderates, they're right wingers, but no one's appealed to them. So Trump goes to appeal to them, and lo and behold, Trump wins. But you listen to Karl Rove, he says we got to get the mushy middle. I said that's nuts. There's a huge amount of people that don't friggin' vote, and that doesn't mean they're in the middle. It just means no one's talking to them, man. I've never understood this. We got 40, 40, 20. I've never understood that. In fact, I hate that. I've always despised that. 40, 40, 20. It's not that. It's not. It's probably 30, probably 30 conservative, 20 libs, 20 and, maybe 10 far left and something. I mean, it's more than that. 40, 40, 20 is stupid. It's just stupid. So we got to be, the Venn diagram thing. It's just, the whole thing's dumb. Yes, Mary G is gone. Exactly. Maybe Enzo McGregor is Mary G. Is that what you're saying, Roberto? I think you're right. Because I don't think Mary G was a chick. I think she's a dude. Hey, Josh, with the Exxon yield going through the roof, you'll be a millionaire in no time. It don't work like that, brother. I hope you're being facetious. Let's just, if not, let me just take my trusty. All right, I'm going to try to draw something here. Let's see if I can't do this. Well, maybe I can't. Nope. I thought Zoom you could draw. I guess I can't. I thought I could draw. I guess I can't. I know I paid for the thing where you can draw. So where is that thing, man? No, maybe not. Oh wait. Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, so let's go. Let's take the a notepad. Okay, I'm a notepad. All right, so we'll use this notepad. All right, so remember, you got a $5 dividend. That's your dividend. It's $10 a share. So you got $5 dividend at $10 a share. Your dividend yield is 50%. All right, so you got a $5 dividend at $10 a share. Your dividend yield is 50%. Now, what happens? The share price goes from 5 to 8. So the share price drops to 8. Dividend stays the same. Dividend stays the same. It's the share price at 8. What's your yield? Actually, I don't know. Is that 66.5, 66.6? Hold on just a second. Yeah, 62.5. So in this case, you have a dividend yield of 62.5. What's the dividend yield for the guy who bought the shares at 10? The dividend yield for this guy is 62.5 or 50. It's still 50 because his price was still 10. The dividend yield of 62.5 is for someone who bought the shares at 8. I hope that makes sense. A lot of people mess that up. They think, oh, you're getting a 10% dividend yield now. I'm not. I'm getting, in my opinion, for me, is 8.33. My dividend yield is still 8.33. If you were to buy shares today, you'd be getting a 10% yield. But for me, I'm getting an 8.33. And that's assuming that the price the dividend stays. I think that's a tough assumption to make, but we shall see. I mean, Exxon is trying to keep it there. But look, I only bought 100 shares. It's a gamble. I think it's a risk worth taking. I don't think Exxon's going anywhere. But the question is, will the share price go up? Who knows? Will they pay me enough dividends to make it worth my while over the course of the next 20 years? I hope. We shall see. Whoa. Syracuse, New York is snowing? Whoa. Oh, snow capital of the New England. Okay, Northeast. Yeah, Syracuse, New York, Watertown, USA, Snowtown, USA. I remember that because I was in the Army, Fort Drum, New York, Watertown, New York, Snowtown, USA. We'd go out in the field in October and about die from freezing. It was that cold. I just remember sitting out there just freaking freezing my butt off. And I'm from Maine now. So it's not foreign to cold. I lived on an island in Maine. I remember waiting for the boat to come take us to school and sitting on that wharf and the wind just blowing through you at 7 in the morning and just freaking freezing your tush off. I'm not foreign to cold, but going out in the field in the freaking, in October and November in Fort Drum, it was, it was horrible. And then if it rained on you, it was, I don't know how these guys did it in the old days. I just don't. I mean, I always talk about Vietnam because we went to Panama. At least you weren't freezing to death in Panama or Vietnam. I mean, I'm sure you were when the sun went down. But how those guys did in World War I and then World War II, I don't know. I don't know how they did. How those German soldiers did it when they went into Russia and the Russians. I don't know. That's nuts. That's why freaking war is freaking stupid. They should I hate it. Tesla have cars at 25K in 2 to 3 years. Okay, better go buy the stock then. You think that's not priced into there? Your shirt tag is showing, it's sticking up. Oh boy. Why does it always show in Right Capital is better take from your taxable accounts before you? That's always the default. The default is always to take it from your taxables before you take it from your tax deferred. So you can change that, like I showed you guys the other day, if you go to the tax scenario in Right Capital. So Nancy, you go to on the dashboard, it'll say tax, click on tax, and then it's going to say distributions. And if you scroll down, there's a drop-down box that'll give you a bunch. It'll say standard, and it'll say pro rata, and then you can change that. So that's the default. That's the default, to take it from your tax accounts before the tax deferred. Because that's the way financial planning has usually been, and they're wrong, mostly. Stagflation coming, no inflation. Let's see. We got Eric in Wisconsin. Yeah, Lydia's in California. We got Wisconsin in the house. 2008 broke everything though. The rich people, okay. Yeah, paw the like button. Yeah, when you hear Pablo making a noise, you got to paw the like button. The rich people just put the stock market. We won't see any inflation as the money goes to the rich. Well, there might be some truth to that, or the real estate market. That could be true. I mean, the rich people already consumed everything they need food-wise, so they just say, I'm just going to reinvest it in stocks and real estate. Paw the like button, says Roberto. Is there, am I ready for retirement calculator you recommend? I always start with firecalc.com. Well, let's run a firecalc.com. I haven't looked at that for a long time on this channel. So let's go to firecalc.com. And there we go. Right, so let's close this out. All right, so we're going to go to firecalc.com. Now, I love firecalc.com. I tried to donate to these guys a long time ago and it didn't go through. I got to try it again. All right, so what we have here is we got I got a portfolio of $750,000. You're spending $30,000 a year and you need it for 30 years. All right, so we got $30,000 a year off our portfolio of $750,000. That's a 4% distribution rate. We need it for 30 years. Pretty that's pretty typical. All right. Now we got to go through it. We're going to say, what's your portfolio? So this is free. I love it. And you should donate to these guys. Your portfolio is, we're going to say here, we're going to total market index. That's why I checked. You can see that blue radio button, total market index. And I'm going back to 1871. I'm going to use the long rate for fixed income, but actually I want to use commercial pay. Let's use 5-year treasury. We're going to use a 5-year treasury and we're going to have 75% in stocks. All right. So 75% is the total stock index, 25% is in 5-year treasury. So not much of a bond yield. All right. So we do that. We're going to hit submit. All right. Oops, hold on just a second. It's calculating. All right. And then we're going to go to, I'm not ready for that yet. What's this? All right. So now we're going to go to a fees. So we're going to say 0.818, which is index funds, generally speaking. So we already got that. You can put that whatever you want. All right. Then we go to spending models. Now you can do all this other income spending. I just don't want people get all caught up in this. I'm saying, look, how much do you need from your portfolio? That's all that you need to figure out. I don't understand why people say, I need this, that, and the other. It's okay. If you got $3,000 a year on a pension, and $3,000 a year in Social Security, and you need $10,000 a month, well, we need $4,000 a year a month from the portfolio, if that makes sense. Or you see what I'm saying? So just all we're trying to figure out is, if you know your Social Security is $36,000 for simplicity, and you know you need $50,000 a year to live on, well, you need $14,000 from your portfolio. That just seems to be as simple as pie. Why make it more complex than that? I need $14,000 from my portfolio. That's it, $14,000 a year, adjusted for inflation or not. We'll talk about that. But how do we know we need that? Well, because we calculate our expenses, like the video I just did the other day. I don't want to hear about your retirement planning until I know how much your expenses are. If you don't know your expenses, I don't care how much money you have. I literally could care less. It means nothing. It's a big fat nothing burger. For you to say, hey, I got $1 million, I'll give you, in fact, I'll share with you his email this guy sent to me today. And I was actually stunned. That guy completely misunderstood my answer. So he reads it. He says, oh man, did I delete it? No, okay. Josh, cursory look, love your videos. Got a retirement question. I'm 62. My better half is 58. $6,000 a month, monthly expenses. I got $1 million in 401k, $400,000 in CDs. In your opinion, can I quit my crappy old job? And I said, okay, we got $72,000 a year in expenses, all right? $72,000 a year. So we take our trusty calculator, $72,000 a year in expenses, divide by 1.4 million in liquid assets. That's a 5.143%. I said, okay, $72K a year in expenses, 1.4 million in liquid assets equals 5.14% distribution before Social Security. I'll let you figure that out. That seems so, I'm stunned. I said, that seems so obvious to me. And I can't say on email because I could get freaking, if I was wrong and say a professional financial planner told me that I could retire and he was wrong, I'm suing him. So I can't say if I don't run numbers for you, I got a fiduciary responsibility, by the way. I am a fiduciary. I can't just sit there and say, yeah, you're good to go, or no, you're not. I don't know. Without actually being paid to crunch the numbers. But I'm sitting there thinking, dude, 5.14 distribution before Social Security. And he wrote back and he says, in other words, I need to keep working and saving. Appreciate your input. I'm what? I was sitting there thinking, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. I'm just sitting there thinking, well, I literally don't understand that. The whole thing just, which is good because it tells me I got a lot more teaching to do. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, I can't say if this guy can retire or not. I'm just sitting there thinking, if I had 1.4 million and I'm 62, and I got a 5.14% distribution rate before Social Security kicks in, and let's just say I got 3,000 a month from Social Security. That means I need $72,000 for the first for the next 5 years. So I need $72,000 for the next 5 years times 5. That's $360,000. That I got that in my CDs, which means I still have over $1 million left. Over $1 million left. And by then I only need $3,000 a month from my portfolio because I got $3,000 a month coming from Social Security, which means I have a 3.6% distribution yield. And then at some point, my wife is going to get something as well. I'm sitting there thinking, how could you miss that? I don't understand it. I'm stunned. I emailed him back and said, that's how you, I said, that's how you took it? Yikes. No way I can say more than that. The liability I have is huge, but I'm sitting there thinking, I'm depressed that I don't know what else to say. Never mind the fact you're not going to spend $6,000 a month when you're 85 years old. Just, it's frustrating to me, and in a good way, because it's just obviously there's a lot of more teaching to do, and I love it. But how could you think that? I don't get it. And he took my course. How could you possibly think that? All right, so let's go down here. So let's use this guy. Oh man, it's crazy. So we're gonna go. We're gonna use our man. He got 1.4 million, and he needs 72,000 a year. All right, so let's go to 1.4. That's 140,000. And by the way, I itch. I don't do cocaine. For all of you, you do cocaine? No, I don't. I'm a teetotaler. Other than I do drink caffeine. All right, so he got 72,000 a year is what he needs off his portfolio. He's got 1.4 million in there. So if we do that, and we just say that right there, he only has a, where's the success rate on here? He has a success rate of 70% historically. For our purposes, failure means the portfolio was depleted before the end of 30 years. Fire Calc found that 35 cycles failed out of the 120. So we got 120 possible 30-year periods, 35 cycles failed for a success rate of 70.8. Now we can get in all the different rolling periods and how they're a lot of similar. They're not non-correlated. I don't want to do that, but we could say, look, the similarities on these correlated assets are high, but we're just going to run with it. So anyway, because this isn't even the point, but even this case, he's got, going back to 1871, where we had, he only ran out of money 30 years out of 120. So he had a 70.8% probability of success. That was pretty good to me. That doesn't include, that's what I said, that does not include Social Security. All right, so now though we say, okay, that's his spending. And look, you can go here at other spending. You want to put in, you got pensions, you got Social Security, just don't. We're just trying to get a gauge of our portfolio first and foremost. I mean, you could if you want, but why? We're going to say not retired. You can put in all this stuff, but just don't. What we do here is we're going to say, okay, now we're going to get where the meat hits the road, whatever it is. The rubber hits the road. Bernicki's reality retirement plan. Does he still have his link to Bernicki's article in here? And I don't see it. They used to. Not too bad. All right. So anyway, you should look up Bernicki's reality retirement plan. That's why I say Ty Bernicki should win a Nobel Prize. He's the guy who popularized the idea that your spending drops in retirement. It does not increase with inflation, it drops. All the numbers agree with that now. Everyone is coming on board with this. It's actually kind of funny to see the rats scurry from the sinking ship that your expenditures go up each and every year with retirement. Now what they try to do to scare you is they try to say, oh yeah, but long-term care, we can tackle that. That's silly too. But the ship is sinking for the retirement, linear exposure expenditures and retirement each and every year with inflation. All the good guys have long since jumped off that boat, and now they're on the real freaking Taj Mahal boat, or the real whatever the boat that rescued the Titanic was, that says, no, your spending most likely is going to go down as you retire. And as such, there is no retirement crisis. So anyway, we're going to click on, we're not doing constant spending power because that'd be dumb. It literally would be dumb. We're going to do Bernicki's. All right. We're going to say Bernicki's, and we're going to say your current age is 60. My man was 62. So we're going to say he's 62. And we're going to hit submit. And what happens here is, they looked at 120 possibilities, 30-year periods. Your failure, you had zero failures because your expenditures did not decline. Did not go up, they declined. Now, we could even say at the end of the day, let's say we can change this around a little bit and say we're not 62, we're, I don't know, freaking 55. So we have increased spending with inflation until we hit retirement age. We can do whatever we want. We could change this around to a blue in the face. And again, we're not running out of money because your expenditures go down. That was at a 5.14% rate of distribution yield, not even including Social Security. If you want to get even more constructive on this, you can add Social Security. You can do whatever you want, man. We're using CPI, historic CPIs. You can use the producer price index. You can use a constant rate of inflation. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. What I'm just saying is, if you are spending 5.14% in of itself, you're probably going to be good to go for retirement without question. I say 5% a constant. If you got to do some belt tightening, then freaking do some belt tightening. My goodness. But then you throw inflation on there. It just seems like a no-brainer to me. Now, if you want to do portfolio changes, you can do all this stuff. You can do all that. I mean, some people love this. I know. You can say, I have a higher fee. You can do whatever you want. It's crazy. The drawback on this, of course, is that the bond rates are much higher than they are now. All right. So his cash would be his 400,000 CDs. So basically with this guy, let me just stop this real quick. Basically what this guy said to me is what I did say, like, I can't give a financial plan over email for free. That's not happening. But if I got 1.4 million and 400,000 is in CDs, that's 5 years of bucket. That's my 5 years of buckets right there. My 5-year barbell, 72,000 a year. I'll eat that from the 400,000 CDs. My $1 million will do what the $1 million is going to do. It's going to look out the window. By the time I hit freaking 67, that $1 million will be worth more or less or the same. If it's the same, I'm taking 3.6% a year out. Most likely it'd be more. If it's worth more, then I'm taking less than 3.6% out. And by the way, by then I'm already 67. I'm that 5 years closer to dying. And on top of that, my wife's going to come in and get some Social Security too. Hey. Anyway, hope that makes sense. Probably doesn't. You guys probably get sick of me just yapped on that stuff, but I don't care. I mean, look, I've never retired, so I get it. People are nervous, but I'm just sitting there thinking, stop. Let's use some common sense. Actually, let me just share with you real quick. I'm going to share this other thing with you too. All right. Oops. I keep doing the wrong one. Hold on just a second. Hold on, people now. We got to stop sharing. Good. Now I keep doing that. Stop sharing. All right. There we go. All right. Share this guy. Go back to my book on Wellington. All right. So remember, we talked 5% distributions on that guy who emailed me. And I'm going to share with you my book. And what my man Theo was telling me on was to tighten up some of my charts. One second, if we can get this, looks like it's thinking. All right. It's a long book. We got tons. We got freaking 50 charts and tables on here, something like that. It's nuts. But I wanted to show you. I have to come back. All right, right here. First of all, I thought this was pretty good. Right here. Other than 1930 and 1931 and 1932, the Wellington Fund never had 3 consecutive down years. Other than 1930 through 32, the Wellington Fund never had 3 consecutive down years. In fact, other than 46 and 47 and 73 and 74, the Wellington Fund never had 2 consecutive down years either. Not too shabby if you ask this guy. All right, so let's, all right, here we go. Here's one chart. So remember we talked about my man, starting in 1930, he took 5% a year out, and this is adjusted with inflation. 5% a year out, adjusted with inflation. 1930, all right? So we talked, he's got more than 5%. He's got 5.14, all right? Again, we're not including Social Security. We're not spending money late. We're linear spending because we're adjusting it for inflation. Check this out. Well, can we check this out? He's retired in 1930. Remember, I said other than 1930, 31, and 32, Wellington has never had 3 consecutive down years. All right, so we keep scrolling down. You'll see, when did we run out of money? 1959. His money lasted in the Great Depression until 1959, my friends. 1959. Adjusted for inflation, by the way. Oh, World War II, we had inflation, 14.36, 8.07, 8.33, 10.88. But in the 30s was deflation. So what initially started at a 5%, $5,000 withdrawal, by the time 1934 rolled around, it was only 3,900. But still, we adjusted for inflation. By the time 1959 rolled around, that 5,000, he needed 8,500 in which to spend to get the same spending. And again, that's adjusting for inflation. And he ran out of money literally 29 years later. What's the likelihood he survives that long? Probably not very high. What's the likelihood he's going to continue to spend that much? Not that high. I did no belt tightening. All right, table 2. Start in 1931 instead. So 1931 and 1932, we had down years, down 26% in 1931, 1.82% in 1932. 1930, the dreaded sequence of return risk, we were down 21, 26, and 2. 21, 26, and 2% in 1930, 31, and 32. 1931, we were down 26 and 2%. 5% a year adjusted for inflation. When did he run out of money? Never. Still at $237,000 in 1960, 30 years later. Crazy, huh? All right, let's keep going, shall we? So now we're taking a fixed amount. Now we're not adjusting for inflation. We're saying we're just going to draw 5%, 5,000 a year fixed. Because remember, with deflation, it took until 1940 by the time that $5,000 we initially were needing to take out for made $5,000 again to live on to equal the same amount. That's how much deflation was in the 30s. Did we run out of money? Nope. Well, right here, 1954. Excuse me, we did. I probably should make that red. And with 24 years, we ran out of money. That's at 5,000 year fixed, not adjusting for inflation. All right, let's retire in 1931. See how I got to change that? I got nominal returns, 0.73. And that's what my man Theo was telling me. Make that percentages easier to read. I agree. So it's kind of a pain having to do that, by the way. Anyway, so you can see we're taking a 5% fixed out. I should change that to fixed. I will. But anyway, 5%, 5,000 fixed out. Actually, let me just go ahead and change that right now. So you guys are watching me change this in my book on the fly. 5,000 fixed. Withdrawals. Look at that. And what you just saw there will be changed in my book. Crazy, huh? Pretty cool. You just witnessed greatness. So if he took 5,000 fixed out in 1931, did he run out of money? No, he didn't. Even though he started with a 26% decline in the markets. And that was in the 1930s, in the midst of the Great Depression. All right, now if we take 6% a year out withdrawals adjusted for inflation, you can see here, he did run out of money, 6% a year. And I've changed it over from the tables from my spreadsheet geeks. So I love a spreadsheet as much as you. Some people like a chart a little bit easier on their eyes. It doesn't take as much space. But you can see we ran out of money in 1948. That's 6% of withdrawals in 1930 adjusted for inflation. Not so good, but if we waited one more year, we didn't run out of money. 6% a year adjusted for inflation in 1931 until 1958. And remember, we've only had 3 times in history that Wellington had 2 consecutive down years, 1931 and 32, 45, I forgot what was in the 40s, and 73 and 74. And that's it. So look, 6% a year adjusted for inflation. Wellington ran out of money in 28 years, probably before you were after, well before you died, well before that. If we took 6,000 a year fixed, we didn't run out of money. We did. We got hammered in 1930. We ran out of money in 1945. If we took 6,000 fixed, we had money until we died. We lived off money until we died 30 years later. Pretty cool. And I just show you the 4% adjusted for inflation. You can see 1930, 4% adjusted for inflation. Our end value is we had over $150,000, but we weren't taking nearly as much, which I talk about in the book. In fact, right here, let's review what happened during the Depression years. And well, this is just Wellington only. You started in 1930. You took 4% with inflation. Did you run out of money? No. You sent 4,000 fixed. Did you run out of money? No. You took 5. Probably should just make that 4,000 fixed right there. Let's just change that. 4,000 fixed. There we go. 5,000 fixed. This is why getting people to look at your stuff is so helpful, because they can give you a different idea. All right, so we did not run in 1930. We ran out of money with 5% or 5,000 or 6% or 6,000. But look, we lasted 29, 23 years respectively for 5%. I think I got also 19. Yeah, here we go. Here's a table for right here. We only ran out of money if we retired in 1931 one time, 6% with inflation. We didn't even run out of money, 6,000 fixed in 1931. Why? Or 5.5%. Oops, that's 5.5% inflation. 5,000 fixed. You guys are watching something that not anyone else has ever seen before. Changing the book on the fly. Now I have all these attached to spreadsheets. You can see right there, link table options. I'm not going to do that, but inflation. There we go. All right, cool. All right, so Theo, if you're still on there, I salute you, sir. For those about to rock, we salute you. All right. If you retired in 1931, you could have taken a 6% inflation adjusted distribution and your money would have lasted 28 years. Pretty doggone cool. And I just did a video right now, earlier today, where I talked about if you were to, if you, instead of doing a SPIA, you do, I think I did an 8,000 a year distribution. I can't remember, but I watched that video I did. It was, I loved it. It didn't get as many views, I thought, to be honest with you. I was kind of surprised. Maybe I just did. Maybe I do too many videos. I don't know. I just love doing videos, man. So I just do them. I don't do any SEO, search engine optimization. And I know what's going to get looks. Anything you say Social Security, any doomsday stuff will get looks. I know that. Retirement, if you say the word retirement, you usually get more looks. But I mean, I don't do any SEO. I don't even do any mini blogs anymore. But anyway, so we got, I did get, okay. So we got do this instead of an income annuity. So I got 1,700 views. Okay, good. So that's what, if I can get, usually I'm trying to get about 1,500 views in a video the first day. I'm pretty happy. And so my video I did yesterday, want to retire, answer this, that has 4,000 views. That's good. My video I did and talking to someone who's on this channel now, who has her own YouTube channel, who lives in Long Beach or something like that. California is hurting you. That got 1,300 views. If Trump loses, got 4,000 views. Claim Social Security early, got 4,800 views. That's good. So you can see, I can see, you can always see where how to retire, have no mortgage, that got 9,300 views. Biden wins, that got 2,400 views. Anyway, you can see where the views go for sure. It's kind of funny, but anyway, usually when I get politically, I don't get nearly as many views, and that's just the way it is. But actually, my Tony Stark lives in Georgia, got 1,000 views. I'm pretty surprised by that. Anyway, that's amazing. It's funny too. Just if you look at the analytics, how it just it ebbs and flows. It's weird, man. And if you're doing it, so for you all who are doing YouTube channels, you're gonna get disappointed sometimes when the stuff just ebbs and flows. You just got to keep doing them. And I hope someone on this channel knows who I'm talking about. It's a lady who lives in California who's a lefty, but I want her to succeed because I think it's important. You just got to keep plugging away. You got to get addicted to it. The more content you do that's real, the more people find your stuff. It just takes time. My man Jerry from California, Jerry GW ETF channel, he's freaking doing good, man. He's making money. My man Jason, Jason saying he's from California too. Why am I helping all these Californians, man? Jason, but he's he's probably on the left anarchist where I'm the right anarchist. And when I say anarchist, not the freaking Antifa clowns, but more of a voluntarist is better the word. So just let people live how they want to live. He's probably a lefty on that side, but he's not an Antifa. He's just not. I'm on a righty on that side, and I'm not a what's the word? Alt-right QAnon. What I don't even know what the hell that is. QAnon, whatever. I don't know. Maybe I am. I don't know. I don't even know what it is. So I don't even know what it is. But anyway, but he's doing good too. Jason Proctor, Fighting Words Financial. So we got Jerry, Gerry. I'm drawing a blank at Jerry's last name. GW ETF channel. Jason Proctor, Fighting Words Financial, but I don't know if I have the privilege, the ability to say this other lady's channel, so I won't. All right, 8:52. Let's just go quickly to the videos, the questions we got. Oops, what did I just do? All right, see what kind of comments, questions, tomatoes are being thrown at me here. Why do I keep doing that? All right, there we go. All right. My wife's going to bed early tonight because she's got to get in the office and do tax returns because October 15th is coming. I got real quick before I forget. I still got 164. Annual enrollment's coming. Please do me a favor. Please see if your firm, whatever it is, has a legal, one of those legal things. You get discount on legal services. You don't talk about. You pay like $5 a month or $5 a paycheck, and they can draw you up wills, durable powers of attorney, all that. Just sign up for that, man. I've heard nothing but good things. Basic stuff they can get done. It's like JAG, except you have to pay for it for non-military people. If you got a legal services thing, a discounted legal thing, and annual enrollment's coming up, sign up for that sucker. It might cost you $250 over the course of the year. If you use it, that's money well spent. I cannot stress this enough. And if you're going to quit your crappy little job anyway, freaking, say in April, sign up, get that stuff done, and then you're gone. You got to do that. It's nuts not to. Are these the best lawyers in town? No. Are they the worst lawyers in town? No. Doesn't matter? No. As long as they get you basic stuff, your will, your durable power of attorney, your medical directive, your living will. Some of these firms even do trusts. Again, I'd want to know what you're trying to accomplish with a trust, a living trust. We're talking living trust. I guarantee they don't do irrevocable trust or irrevocable, as the attorneys like to say. But for the basic stuff, all right. Anyway, so back to Roberts. Am I ready for retirement? That's what I would look at, man. Productivity technology, keep inflation in check, says Dwayne, my Georgia Tech man. I could not agree with that more. I think that gets overlooked quite a bit. In fact, I was talking to let's just put it this way, a lady who's very knees deep in AI. And she was saying something that's actually quite funny. She's saying, it used to be we'd go to these places and there'd be 200 people doing a task. And then we create some software and now there's only 20 people doing a task. Now, are 180 people out of jobs? You could say that. Is a company more profitable? Without question. Is society more profitable? Yeah, because we're more productive. What happens to prices? What's the biggest price that's out there is labor. AI, man. That's another thing. People worry about AI. I said, you can worry all day long. It's not going to change anything unless you go to North Korea. It's coming. So the best way to deal with AI is to have your side hustle that you can fall back on, like start a YouTube channel, start a podcast, start a blog. Watch my men over at the Income School. They told you how you can make money on a blog, on all kinds of different blogs. If you know RVing and you like to write, if you're not freaking blogging, we need to meet in the ring because you're freaking stupid. If you have an ability to write and you know RVing, can I tell you how many people I talk to as financial planning clients of mine? I'd say over half. So they're going to go RVing. Over half. It's nuts. And you think that's just now? You think that's been, so many people already talked about it. Hells to the no. No. There's tons of space because no one can do it the way you can do it. If you're not blogging on RV stuff, you're making a huge mistake. Huge. These guys from the Income School, it's a YouTube channel. I like them. Big fan. First time, long time. They're showing how people are making $4,000 and $5,000 a month on their blog alone. It's freaking awesome. I love it. And if you want to pay for their course, you should. I haven't, but you got. Just stuff like if you know how to fish, if you know how to freaking deep sea fish for retirement, I don't know why you would not be doing a YouTube channel or a blog or something like that. It's nuts. Anyway, so yeah, right on. So Dwayne says he spent $4K on a 48-foot or an inch TV in 2000. Now I can get a 65-inch smart for $400. Yeah, that's part of that is because it's not manufactured here. We know that. What are you going to do? Joel Skousen. Man. There's a new book you should get with your interest in checking out different places. No, Mark Skousen. That's who I know. Mark Skousen. Did he do free banking? He's a big gold guy, Mark Skousen. I'm not familiar with Joel Skousen. Let's check him out. Let's see who old Joel Skousen is, shall we? I hope it's not a freaking porn site there, buddy. Rick. Nah, Rick won't be bringing me to a porn site because if my wife found out I was looking at a porn site, it would be lights out for your old buddy Josh, that's for sure. All right, so we're going to go to DuckDuckGo. Notice I hit that right there. We don't go to Google. We go to DuckDuckGo because Google manipulates their search engines. And we go to Joel Skousen. Ooh, let's see who this guy, man. See, here's a guy writing a book on freaking relocation maps. I bet he's making bank. Yeah, freaking Utah. All these guys in Utah. It's crazy. These Utah guys are nuts on taking advantage of all the stuff that's out there online. You should be like that. All right. Last day's timeline. Oh boy. Is Joel telling us about how we're all going to. All right, here he is. So here's Joe Strategic. Oh, wait. I think I've come across this guy before. Yeah, I think I've seen this book. Yeah. All right. Yeah. The first thing that jumped out at me is he's not a fan of ACB, Amy Comey Barrett. I don't think she's going to be as rock rib conservative as a lot of people think. Let's just put it that way. I don't think. But look, I like her. I want her on there. I don't think she's going to be as right wing as freaking Scalia. Even though didn't she clerk for Scalia? I can't remember. Did she clerk? I think she clerked for Scalia. But at the end of the day, I don't care. I got to get her on there because if Trump doesn't win, it's just got to get her on there. At this stage, you got to get her on there. So medical Gestapo will never let us get back to normal. Testing keeps driving the false pandemic. Yep, I agree with all that, man, 100%. Strategic relocation, 4th edition. Political demographics, military threats. Yeah, I think I actually heard him interviewed. I think it might have been the Jack Spirko thing. I don't like the military threat stuff. Political demographics changes. I don't know. There's something else in there I didn't like that he was talking about. I forgot what it was. I get the military threats, like could China nuke you? I don't know. I'm more just taxes, and who's going to freaking be up my butt? I don't want people up my butt. I want to be left alone. That's all there is to it. But I want to be in a community too, because that's how we know that people are happy when they're in a community of like-minded people, homogenous community of like-minded people. That's racist. No, it's not. That's literally what shows people are happy. It's homogenous community. That doesn't mean you have to be all white. Doesn't mean you have to be all Christian. Just means you have to all have a similar thought process on maintaining your neighborhood and maintaining your community. Patting your neighbor on the back. Making fun if they're a freaking Georgia fan. Wait, who won, Georgia or Auburn? I don't know. Probably should say that, but I think Georgia had to win that, right? Georgia versus Auburn. All right, let's see who won that game. Yeah, okay. So the Tigers got smoked. All right, good. So Georgia won. All right, that's good. That's good. All right. Greenville has a Red Sox farm team. Yeah, man, I know. The Green Drive. Greenville Drive, right? Our being is worth more than even boating, says Dan. All right. RBs are crap load of work, says Frank. Need to be physically fit too. Plus, it takes 2 or more to operate a large unit. All right. Bring back manufacturing for the love of God. It's would love to live in an RV in retirement. Not me. I'd rather live in a double wide, to be honest with you. Creative destruction is a real thing. Yep, 100% right. People say California would be the 5th economy in the world for a standalone. BS. Without the U.S., California would fall hard. Plus, forget secession. The federal government owns 48% of California. Yep. Bino says 4,000 guys watch Josh talk in retirement, but 300,000 watch taco stacks loading an abandoned refrigerator into his van. It's entertainment, man. It's kind of like, you don't watch football to get political messages on Black Lives Matter. You watch it for an escape from all that crap. I think a lot of people don't watch retirement videos because they're just scared. They've been scared, so they say, I'd rather not think about it, so I'll watch taco, whatever. All right. All right, well, here's Lydia. Right on. So Lydia's big lib, but she doesn't like getting taxed so much because it's used for things I don't like. I agree with capitalism. Well, good. Capitalism is not the Mr. Burns. Capitalism is not cronyism. I hate when they say corporate or when they say crony capitalism. That's not capitalism. Capitalism, and this is where I think the liberals make a big mistake in being anti. I just think it's semantics. Unfortunately, their semantics are wrong. Ours are right. But smaller communities engaging in the local trade is not a bad thing. Will it cost more? Absolutely, without question. At the end of the day, will people be more secure? I do believe, without question. I think there'd be more of a community buying stuff from a couple behemoths, Amazon, Walmart's, Costco's. That's not capitalism. That's not, man. Capitalism is small entrepreneurs being able to take advantage of their trade and sell a product for a profit to others, without question. Now, can you say Amazon is absolutely, because it started, I mean, without question, it's capitalistic. But when Amazon has the ability, and I do want to say this about YouTube and other these places that I was listening to Dennis Prager the other day, one of his fireside chats. He made a great point. YouTube and all these other guys are banning people on the right. That's a fact. And we say, well, they're a private company. Okay. And then Prager said, what if you got on the plane with the Wall Street Journal and United Airlines said you can't have the Wall Street Journal on this plane? Well, that's a private company. They can kick you off because you have the Wall Street Journal. It's the same thing, where it's consuming content on their platform. We're consuming content on their platform. YouTube is essentially being like United Airlines telling you, you cannot have a Wall Street Journal. You have to have the New York Times. No one would say that's a private concern. They could do that. They wouldn't. I mean, well, trust me, the left would love to. The far left would love to. They'd love to say, you have to read Das Kapital. You have to read the Workers of the World newspaper. But no one would sit there in the right mind and say, you have to read the New York Times. You cannot read the Wall Street Journal, or you can't get on this plane. The same thing Dennis Prager is making the argument about YouTube banning people. No, you can't watch Dennis Prager because he's racist, sexist, xenophobic, blah, blah, blah. But you can watch all these other crazies. No, same thing. I completely agree. It's not a violation of capitalistic private property to say no. If you're going to serve as a public utility, and then what's his name? Jack Spirko talks about Twitter. Twitter is a Spirko. He talks that Twitter is used to alert people of fires, Amber Alerts, and all this stuff via the government. If Twitter bans you, inherently you don't get these alerts by the government that Twitter is using. You can't have it both ways. I completely agree with that. So at the end of the day, I think YouTube better watch out. I do think so. I like YouTube. I'm a big fan. I think it's stupid banning people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you just, I think you're gonna have to make a choice. YouTube, you're gonna, not just YouTube, but all these places. Google on their search engine. We know Google search engine manipulation. We know that for a fact. And when Trump gets elected, I hope he comes at it with hard. And Google and YouTube, the same company. I really do, because it's nuts. You should not be allowed to manipulate data. You should not. And we know, we have proof of that through the roof. Yeah. Hell, I did my own thing just a few months ago, and on not even an incognito channel. Literally, I literally did it on a computer that I never used before. It never would have known who I was. It wasn't this IP or someplace else. And I said, man, they are freaking so corrupt in terms of what they're pushing on for propaganda in the search engine. It was nuts. I couldn't believe it. It was not just an incognito browser. It was literally no one knew it was me, if that made sense. And I said, man, these guys are corrupt as the day is long. And Trump, when he gets reelected, is going to come on them. And the funny thing is, you know, Liz Warren and stuff, as much as I can't stand her, because she's not that bright. She's a liar. She's no different than Biden. They're just not that bright. But at the end of the day, I like the fact she's putting the fear of God in these people, but they're more fearful of her than Trump because they're coming from the left. And what Trump needs to do is make these people be fearful from the right. That's what I want to happen. So they say, yeah, we better play this both, you know, down the middle, because both sides are coming for us. All right, what else we got? Yeah, now it's you, because sometimes he's successful. Bezos' wife, what's her name, Melanie or something like that. She's all right. When you look up Bezos in his home office, Amazon banner in the background, he had adversity. He had to defend losses all those years. Now people vilify him for making money. Ray, if you were to start a competitive enterprise, you should call it the Potomac. That way you can get that sweet, sweet DC money from the Potomac River. All right, so I can get out of here, my friends. I appreciate y'all being here, man. Tim T's getting out of here because 4:30 comes early. I got to get up early. Just giving you a hard time, Tim. I don't care what they say, you guys. Yeah, right there. Jill said she had a Hyatt Legal. It was $788 a paycheck. It was fantastic. And she even got a living trust. Freaking awesome, man. All right, cool on being here, man. You guys are the best. I really, yeah, it's still live. Is this about politics or retirement? Says this guy. Because you can't be both. Remember, because retirement and politics are completely opposite. Because Roth IRAs have nothing to do with politics. Or wait, they have all to do with politics and nothing to do with retirement. Huh. Named after Bill Roth, a political hack from Delaware, Republican from Delaware. Republican senator from Delaware. Interesting. Oh, 529 plans, the IRC. Oh, 401k plans, the IRC. Oh, ERISA, 74 Employee Retirement Income Secure Act. Huh. All these different things. 1035 exchange, 1031 exchanges, tax code, Social Security, inherently is political. But no, keep politics and retirement out. Just stop being silly, man. AF, just don't do that. Don't come back here if you don't want. I don't care. That actually infuriates me. People said stop mixing politics and retirement planning, because they are intertwined. They're joined at the hip. If you can't see that, that's on you, brother. That's not on me. When I buy this cup of tea and I drink some tea, there's a sales tax. That hurts my retirement planning. That is a political endeavor. The property tax I pay on this house is a political endeavor. Whether or not I can deduct the mortgage is a political endeavor. So it's ignorance, man. All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks again for being here. Mucho gracias. That's what we say in Spanish. We'll see you guys.